Here at Be Freaking Awesome, we believe that life is too short to be anything less than extraordinary. Join us as we explore what it means to live authentically, grow continuously, and have a blast while doing it. Let's get started. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sami Kinnison. I'm a communication coach who helps people find the right words to say and figure out why they weren't saying them.
I'm Angela Belfort. I'm an executive coach who's still learning how to do this introduction. So I'm Sammy's mom. I'm Lala. I wrote some books, and I love talking about ways that you can continually be a better version of yourself.
Be freaking awesome, if you will.
Be freaking awesome.
Today on the podcast, we are going to be talking about the super fun and delightful topic of guilt.
Woo! Keeping it going after disappointment.
Right. Gotta just keep all these good feelings going, you know? Why not? Angela, why are we talking about guilt today?
Because, number one, why do we talk about anything on the podcast? But you and I are coaching people that are having these struggles. And what I'm seeing is that we have a lot of parent guilt. More mom guilt, I feel like, than dad guilt. So we'll call it mom guilt. And what I see is that we kind of like to put on like our coat of guilt and just snuggle up into it and just wallow in it. And it's not helpful, and it is draining, and it is not designed for us to wallow in it. It does have a purpose, though.
It does have a purpose. So what is the purpose? What do you think is the reason that guilt is a good emotion, a bad emotion?
Just
are. They're neither good nor bad.
Back it up. It's called an emotion. Perfect segue into, sorry.
Wow, you want to be so cheesy? This is like when you're, the kid and their mom being like, Mom, oh my gosh. You're like, emotion, energy, and motion. I very rarely have those moments though that take me back to like being so cheesy, Mom. But no, tell us.
Because if guilt isn't moving you into doing something, then it is a waste of energy. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between guilt and shame. Oh, wait, hot take. That's next week's episode. We're going to talk a lot more about shame. But guilt says I did something wrong. Shame says there's something wrong with me. Mm-hmm. Okay, so agree or disagree, I don't care. This is kind of generally accepted per the world of Brene Brown. This is what I've accepted as what shame and guilt is.
She is our thought leader we follow and subscribe to. If you follow somebody else, go somewhere else. That's fine. You can listen to their takes elsewhere.
Tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you. So if guilt is designed to tell us we did something wrong, then that should trigger us to do it differently. What does that mean? When I feel guilt because I did something wrong, I can seek forgiveness. I can seek reconciliation. I can make amends so that I can restore the relationship. It should move us to do something. But if we just put on our blanket, put on our backpack, and wander around the house in our mom guilt, when I'm at work, I'm thinking about my kids. When I'm at home, I'm thinking about work, and I feel guilty. No matter where I am, I'm not giving anybody my attention. It is useless. It is just carrying around a backpack full of weight that is just draining from your energy. That's what I got to say about that.
What's interesting is I think I am a little bit more rare. I feel like I have to whisper this, like, I don't really have mom guilt that often. I don't know. It's just, there's something about me that it is not a common occurrence for me to experience because and let me put credit where credit is due. I think I've been modeled a really good way to mother. And I think that number one of the things that you taught me was, if you are a parent and you are your child is a planet and you are a moon that orbits your child's planet, when that planet leaves your house and goes off to college one day, you are a moon that falls out of orbit and you're not really sure what centers you. If you are a planet in and of yourself and your children orbit you, they have deep impact on you. The moon changes the tides, it affects gravity, it has all of this big impact, but you are not the one that orbits around them. They orbit around you, and that is beautiful. And so there are times where I get things wrong. I don't do everything perfectly. I like make mistakes and I own up to those and apologize for those with my children. I might feel guilt in a very fleeting sense. It is not a state of being for me. It is something that motivates me to go and apologize and to own up for where I made a mistake and to own up for, like, hey, I emphasize to my kids, like, being able to regulate and express what you've got going on for you in a way that others can hear and understand is really important. I did not do that. I didn't model that for you right then, and I got too angry. I'm really sorry. Thank you for the patience that you have with me as I'm growing as a mom. That guilt motivated me to respond to my kids and to work a repair in that relationship. I am not accustomed to this experience. I have a lot of friends and I see a lot of people, so I'm not like, this is all foreign to me, but I don't know. I don't know why. Is it just that I've been modeled a different way, or I
So
don't
this is
know.
okay. I'm gonna preview book 4. Even though book 3 just came out. Here's the thing. This is a beautiful example of how things that are air quotes technically wrong with you can serve you well. Okay,
Hmm.
because I had anxious attachment disorder. I didn't know that. I didn't know that for a long, long time. But that meant that, like, I can remember my senior year of high school. My grandma was in the hospital 6 times. And my aunt finally said to me, "Do you know that she is trying to prove to you that she's so sick you should not go to college, that you should stay at home and take care of her?" I was like, it didn't even compute to me. Like, I didn't form deep attachment bonds because that was the fourth family I'd lived in by the time I was 18. And so I didn't form this deep attachment. So I didn't have a lot of needs that were going to get met by being a good mom. Like, some of my friends were kind of surprised I was a good mom. And I'm not even saying that every day I was a good mom. Like, some of my friends were surprised I was a mom at all because I was pretty selfish and I sort of had to be selfish to take care of myself and to make sure that I got to adulthood. Nobody was making sure I got fed, right? And so I think there's some elements of those things that made me not need to be a great mom, just didn't scratch an itch for me. It didn't make me want to stay home and take care of my grandma. I didn't need to be needed by my children. I would say those are issues with my attachment disorder. But
But
it
it's
served
interesting,
me okay, and
and
it
it was not a perfect system
no,
because, like,
it's not a
feeling like a
perfect.
mom, where, like, there were times where it's like, if you need a problem solved, you go to mom, but if you want somebody to care for you and nurture you, you go to dad. Kind of
Yeah,
period,
I
the end.
I definitely was the one that was like, I didn't tell my kids they couldn't cry. I just said you can't cry in any room that I'm in. You can cry in any room as long as I'm not in that room. Like, I
And you were
mean,
like,
hello.
look, I got us a big house. Like, look how six. Like, well, we're doing. You've got four, five whole bedrooms you could choose from. What's your problem?
I mean, I like, we laugh, but it's like, okay, but it served me okay. And was that ideal? No. And did my kid still was able to take something from it that's positive and in her life? And so, like, this is a beautiful example that I did not know this is where we were going on this episode, because I was like, oh, well, I can tell you how I didn't have a lot of mom guilt because didn't have a lot of needs being met by
Yeah.
being a mom. So I think that is part of the reason. I think
That's
you
hard
do.
to tell people. Here's the steps. Just like have a traumatic childhood and then have a child that you do a little bit better the next generation and then that third generation like they're going to rock it. That's our three-step program to living a great life is generational cycle breaking. Three quick steps.
Oh, well, and I don't even know if I'm fully breaking all the steps because I for sure am trying to build some mental toughness into my grandchildren. I'll be like, stop being weird. Stop it. We don't cry at Lala's house like that. Listen, Lala can hear you when you talk. You don't have to whine. So I'm not saying I'm like perfect or paragon of virtue. They're doing okay.
Okay,
Everybody's
so
like, this, I don't know that you're telling us how we're supposed to be working on this.
okay,
Anyway,
so let's go back to guilt.
yeah,
The thesis, if you will. Guilt is a useless emotion unless it motivates you to do something.
yeah.
That's like the really hot take that like
That
it's a
really
useless
is
emotion.
because there are times where, I mean, even recently where I misunderstood something. I was logged into an account and I misunderstood something and I ended up just raging at my husband. And I will tell you, I felt horrible guilt and I apologize. I was raging on him via text. So I apologized via text. And I said, I'm apologizing via text, as well as I will apologize when we get home because I was very inappropriate in how I responded to this. Please forgive me. I had to work really hard on repairing that relationship. And luckily, he was very generous and forgives me very easily. But I'm like, no, no, no. I want you to listen to me. Please let me say what I need to say. Um, I had another situation where I had a friend that had a very um, hard diagnosis. And the last time I talked to her, I didn't know what the prognosis was. And then I totally forgot to check on her. And then when she texted me to say, oh, by the way, I, chemo's going well. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my God. So then when I called her, I'm like, will you please allow me to own this? She's like, it's okay. And I said, I hear you, but can you please allow me to express what I'm feeling? I don't need you to comfort me. I think
Mhm.
this is really important. I don't need you to comfort me, but I will feel better if you will allow me to offer the repair and to sincerely apologize. And I hear you in advance but can you just please let me say it? And she's like, yeah. And so I was like, this is doesn't feel in alignment with my character. I appreciate that you're so generous, and I hope you know how much I love you and that I am here if you need me. And she was like, absolutely. I know at any time if I need to pick the phone. And she has called me at random times of the day. And she's like, I know where the phone, how the phone rings. And so anyway, I think that was something that was really helpful to me is that sometimes we're so quick to forgive somebody that we don't allow them to like, can you please let them feel the feels and let them express what they are feeling, even if it's remorse, regret, whatever. Even if you're going to forgive them, please stop saying it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. They're trying to live up to their own standards of excellence. And I think sometimes we have to allow that. Go, oh, yes, I absolutely accept your apology. I absolutely forgive you. And then if they like a week later, like, oh, I feel so bad. Okay, now it's just useless because you've already repaired, you've offered, I've given you forgiveness. Now you're asking me to comfort you for the thing you did that was wrong. And you
Mhm.
just want to like keep that going and now feel bad. I still feel so bad. Why? Like, how about you turn that energy into going making me dinner? You feel bad? Like, go do something. Like, buy me a gift card to Uber Eats or send me some flowers or come sit with me or whatever that looks like that you want to restore that relationship. But just to like, oh, I feel bad. Stop it. Because also, I think it's people trying to get attention when they're
Mhm.
just constantly like, oh, I just feel so bad. I just feel so bad. Why? Do something. Ask forgiveness. Now, there are people that have asked for my forgiveness. I have forgiven them. I have also determined that I don't want to be in relationship with them. I forgive you. No, no, I'm not going to jump back into a relationship with you. And they might feel bad, and that's hard. Hard. Maybe you can't repair it because maybe, I mean, there's people that have died that I don't have the opportunity to repair the relationship. That is hard. But dragging yourself around with a big backpack does not help. If anything, if I have that relationship where there's somebody that I can't repair with, then I want to figure out what lesson can I learn and
Mm.
try to not make that. This is how I can honor that relationship, is I can try not to do that same thing. If I'm going around, to go back to last week's episode where I'm just wielding my disappointment as a weapon, instead I'm going to feel bad about it. I'm going to repair, and if I can't repair, I'm going to try to be better in the future.
There are a couple of different, I don't know, flavors of guilt besides just mom guilt that, I don't know, I think they're the traps that people can fall into. I think some people in particular, like, feeling guilt is almost the like pass for having to do anything about it. Like, I
Mm,
feel bad. See, I feel bad. Like, isn't that enough? And I need to prove to you how much I feel bad to show that this is enough to, like, of an action, of a reparation of some kind. And it is not, like, I don't know. I don't like, congratulations. Here, you made the point about when, somebody brings their guilt to the person that they may have wronged to, and is looking for comfort from them. If you are in a space where you do need that to talk about it more, to get that comfort, to unpack it, you could do that with anybody else besides the person that you wronged. Like,
hmm
go find a different friend, go call your mom, go call a therapist. If you don't know how to call a therapist, we've got a great episode about how to find a therapist to say, I want to talk about this because there's something within me that I don't understand and I'm still needing to process. That is a very different place to be sitting at than seeking comfort and reassurance from that person, because that is where you're shifting the burden now and you're like making it double whammy for them. Not only did I do something to feel guilty for, but now I'm going to make you be the one to clean up the mess of me feeling guilty, not me clean up the mess of what I broke in the first place.
Well, and I think that I'm going to tell a story that I think we've told at least twice on the episode or on the podcast, but I think I tell it a lot. I tell it in a lot of keynotes because it's my most, it is the pinnacle of the pinnacle parenting moment for me. And that is when Sammy figured out that she had um, perfectionism, and that she was tying in her I'm not lovable to I have to be perfect to be lovable. That may be why I got so wound up about it last episode, is because been there, done that. And then, like, when somebody pushed her, a friend pushed her, why do you think that? Why do you think that? I don't know. Maybe my mom made me feel like I had to be perfect to be lovable. Absolutely, I did that because I was having my own perfectionism issues. And in that moment, I did not make it about me. In that moment, I'm like, I will apologize. I have apologized. I've been telling you since you were 12, you didn't have to be perfect. What do you need from me to help you? Because while I may have caused the injury, it is not my responsibility to heal. I actually can't heal. You have to heal. I'll hold your hair. I'll hold your hand. I'll sit with you. I will listen to you rail. You want to tell me how bad it was? I will listen to you. This is not mine. Now, when Sammy left to call my best friend, bawling my eyes out, how horrible. It is the worst feeling on the planet to realize that something you did caused your child pain. That is the worst feeling. But I needed somebody else to help me process through that. I offered Sammy the repair, but I couldn't take her. And what I see moms doing is, oh, I know, baby, I'm so sorry. I was doing the best I can, blah, blah, blah. And then the kid ends up having to comfort you. And
Hmm.
that is not guilt. That is useless and
Well, I
unhelpful.
think it could be guilt, but it is not useful guilt.
It's not useful guilt. Yep.
Yeah. I I think that is it is just like a beautiful, you're right, pinnacle example of that, of being able to have the emotion of guilt show up. How does that cause you to move? And then I'm going to take that to somebody else and to
Yep.
go work through my feelings, not with this person. I think that's good. Another trap that I think people can fall into with guilt is when you feel guilty for something that like isn't yours, or like you're it's like something bad happens and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I just feel so bad that this happened to this person, for this person, on behalf of this person." And it's like, "Okay, I don't know why you feel this bad about this thing that you had no control over, that you did not impact you." And they're like, "Well, I could have been there for them." It's the like, my friend was in a car accident, and if only I had called them that morning and said, "Come to my house," they would have never been in a car accident because they wouldn't have been there at that time. And it's like, that is one way to take it, but also like it's not your fault that somebody got into a car accident because you didn't call them to come to your house like you had thought to do. I like, I don't know. Every now and again, those are the moments where I have to try really hard not to give big eye rolls. But it still feels like that attention-seeking behavior of taking somebody else's, like they're in a car accident, now I'm going to make it about me, and it
Well,
feels
and I
harsh to
think,
say that.
no, I think that where I see this often is like, especially those of us with traumatic childhood that feel like we should have done something to stop the perpetrator. You'll see this a lot
Mm,
with older siblings, like, golly, if I could have only helped. Or my mom got beat up because she was trying to protect me, and I feel guilty about that. And here's the thing that's hard is that I don't want to make it sound like that we are trying to make you into an unfeeling person. Quite the opposite, right? Empathy is like, oh, I can sit with you in your pain. Sympathy is like, I can see that this is hard for you. And you can see that something is hard. I've had things that have happened to my friends and I'm just like, "Oh, my heart hurts for them." Like
mm-hmm,
I ache for them. That's not guilt,
mm,
right? That's sympathy or empathy. And we're allowed to hurt and have compassion for people who are in hurting situations. But like, there's somebody experiencing trauma, and you, oh, I feel so guilty because I can't give them a place to live. No, I mean, that's not yours to like feel guilty
yeah.
about necessarily.
I do, like, I've had experiences with people who are like, this is my fault because I didn't do this extraordinary thing. And it's like, it by making it your quote fault, like you are now like, okay, great, now like as a mutual friend I've got to comfort the person who went through the bad thing and you, because somehow this is
Yes.
your fault. And it's not. And even I've had friends who were in both physically and emotionally abusive relationships, and other friends that were like, if only I would have fought harder, if only I would have been there for them more. And at a certain point, like, if you did what you could, rest on that. Like,
Hmm.
I there's not a whole lot, there's not a whole lot gained from continuing to beat yourself up that I should have done more, I could have done more, if only I had known. You couldn't have known, and it's not your fault, and it's a little bit irrational to say it's your fault. If I could be so bold to say, like, stop making it about you. I don't know, like, how, do something with it. Take your guilt and go donate to a nonprofit in this area. I don't know.
Right.
Do like
Pay their electric
wallowing,
bill for a year. I don't care,
sure,
whatever.
but wallowing without time, like, and this is where I think I get into, sometimes there's this like, well, if I let myself feel my feelings, then I'm going to be wallowing. No, I don't think so. There is a spectrum and a pendulum of this. If you never let yourself feel your feelings, I promise you those feelings are going to come out some way, shape, or form. Whether you have like bursts of anger or physical ailments or something, somehow your feelings will find a way to escape. If you let them out always and are always pouring them out and just vomiting all over everybody around you, like that's also not really great. And so finding that space where you can properly express and give airtime to, while not burdening the person who maybe is feeling experiencing that quote like worst problem, worst drama. I don't know. There's nuance here. There always is, but the goal is to be able to feel all of your feelings in a way that is helpful and in a way that is like healing and regenerative. And is that the goal? I say that out loud, but maybe I don't know. I'm gonna sit with
That's
that
how
in
I
my
think
bones for
about
a
it.
while. I do think that
That yeah,
that might be
that's
the point.
yeah. And there's an element of like, what are you getting out of? This is the hardest question. What are you getting out of that negative feeling, wallowing, whatever? If you're getting attention, if you're getting, you get a pass. Oh, I don't have to do better or act better because, oh, I already feel guilty about it. You know, um, we talk about these type of topics a lot. And one of the things I want to make sure that we hit really hard is that all of this requires a lot of grace. That
Mm-hmm.
is undeserved favor. That is being gentle with yourself to say, Yup, I've done that. I've done that. And I want to do better. I want to be I want to improve how I think about things. I want to be more wholehearted. I want to show up with more energy for my life. I want to be able to trust people because if you're wanting to be in relationship with people, you have to be able to trust them. You have to be able to repair and forgive people. And all of that requires a lot of grace and a lot of ability to be gentle with yourself and compassionate with yourself and compassionate with others.
I think that this is just going to feed so well into this little natural arc that we've got going, because next week we're talking about shame. And there really is a difference between I did something wrong and I did something bad and I am bad. And that is probably the biggest risk with dancing with guilt, is that you fall into shame, and it's not just I did something bad, but it's I am bad.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to encourage a resource or share a resource, Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart. It is a book that is not like any of her other books, in my opinion. It is not necessarily like a narrative read from front to back, but it is an encyclopedia of emotions and words and definitions and ways to think about these things. Because the premise that she sets up is that when we have more language to discuss what is going on inside us and inside our hearts and our heads, we are able to move through it easier. But when the only words we have for our feelings are sad, mad, glad, like that is not colorful enough. It is not rich enough to be truly understood. And so she has a whole sections that are dedicated to just breaking down what are these feelings and what does it show up like? What is the difference between guilt and shame, and what are the nuances there? And so if you have not checked it out, I think it's a great book. It is different. You probably aren't just going to like sit down and like read through it start to finish. I will say I think the audiobook, if you are wanting to go start to finish, the audiobook is a really good way. Angela, you were the one who told me this first.
Yeah, she'll be like, okay, if I was reading this book on audio and I was washing dishes, I would want to read that again. So I'm not going to make you rewind it. I'm going to just say it again.
Mhm.
Blah, 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 blah. Isn't that so good?
I also love even little things where she'll be like reading a quote. So some of the sections open up with a quote, and she'll be like, I wanted to share a quote from my dear friend and fellow researcher. This is the work that they do. These are some of the things that they did. Here's where our work overlaps. Okay, now I'll share the quote with you.
Yeah,
And if I had just read the book, I would have been like, cool, another person who I don't know who they are.
right.
And so the audiobook, if you want to consume start to finish, is great. And then I have the paper copy, the
Same.
hardback, to refer back to. And so the the point is similar to what Brene proposes, is that the more language we have around this, the more we are able to express and articulate what is going on, the more intentional I think we're going to be able to live our lives. And that at the heart of things is what we contend is it takes to live a freaking awesome life, is intentionality and doing things purposefully with intent. And so I just want to remind you all, we're not here trying to, like, rain on a sunshiny day. It's summer, we're not trying to do those things. But when we have these old emotions that get stuck within us and cause these loops and cause relationships not to be their best operating, there's things we can do about that. There's something that you can do to sort of take a breath and keep moving forward.
Love it.
Thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, we hope you guys go be freaking awesome.